So earlier this month, IT systems of the Department of Justice and Correctional or Constitutional Development, I beg your pardon, came under a ransomware cyber attack. The security breach affected the issuing of letters of authority, bail services, and in some respects crippled court proceedings around the country. The department has since informed the public that child maintenance payments, which were also affected, have now been restored. However, the Information Regulator has blasted the department for keeping the unit in the dark, essentially, regarding related investigations. Information Regulator Advocate Pansy Tlakula joins us now via our video link for more on what they're feeling and what they're asking for. And Advocate Tlakula, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks so much for making time. Let me begin here.
Thank you.
What do you reckon are still the critical questions that are largely unanswered, not only for you as the Information Regulator, but also for ordinary South Africans around the so-called cyber attack?
Good morning to you and your viewers. I think the critical information that is still outstanding is the impact and the nature of the personal information that has been affected by the security compromise. I think that information is quite important. I have to say that there have been developments, because when I opened my computer this morning, I saw that the DG of Justice has sent us quite a comprehensive document regarding the measures that they have taken in terms of Section 22 of the protection of personal information. In fact, they have reported to us on the measures that they have taken. Unfortunately, the email was quite long and I was not able to read it through, but what I could glance from the email before I did this interview is that they still do not know the impact and the nature, the extent of the personal information that might be compromised. And they also said that they have approached, relevant authorities to assist them with forensic investigation. So it looks like the problem is quite big. They did say that it appears, and I have to underline that, it appears that about 1,200 files might have been impacted, but they are still not sure.
Sure. I mean, if we do get to a point where it is confirmed that these files have been affected and people's personal information is compromised, what's the responsibility of the department in informing those people about what happened?
Actually, it's very interesting because we are also, as the Information Regulator, in a very precarious position, because on the one hand, we have to regulate them, but on the other hand, we are using their systems. So the department has to inform us about all the, give us information on the breach, the measures that they have taken, whether they have informed the data subjects and so on. But we also have our own responsibility to inform our own data subjects. You remember, Ayanda, that we've been registering information officers and deputy information officers. Their personal information is on the justice domain. We have the personal information of our employees, of our service providers, of our data subjects. So we also have the responsibility to inform our own data subjects on the possible consequences of the breach, the measures that they can take to deal with that, the breach themselves, to ensure that they lessen the impact of the breach on their personal information, the identity of the person who breached the systems. We have to inform our data subjects in that regard. But we can't even do so because we don't have that information. We are waiting for the Department of Justice to give us that information. But on our side, what we have done, we thought that in the interest of accountability, at least we should inform the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Constitutional Development.
Sure.
So the answer to the question that you are asking is, what can data subjects do? The data subjects cannot do anything until they know the nature and the impact of the breach on their personal information.
So let me get this clear, Advocate. What you're saying is that even you as the Information Regulator are subjected to whatever the department says, because as the regulator yourself, use the department's systems which are potentially compromised.
Exactly. That's exactly the difficulty that we find ourselves in. But we have taken measures ourselves to mitigate the impact of the breach, because we now have established our own email address on our own domain, because we can communicate with anyone using the department systems, because the emails are down, although the website is set to be up, but you can't upload anything onto it, so it's not active as such or interactive. So
it's quite the quagmire.
It's quite a serious problem.
Yeah. It really is quite a critical problem, dare I say. So how do you know, for instance, Afrika Tlakula, that the department's even giving you the full picture in a context where you're essentially relying on them to regulate them?
Well, like I say, the email that I saw this morning, it appears that because it's quite lengthy, I'm hoping that they have given us as much information as possible. What I was interested in was to check the extent of whether the personal information has been impacted, and if so, what personal information has been. But as I've indicated, on the quick glance of that email, I saw that they still don't know the nature and the impact on the personal information. So it's quite a serious breach. I think we don't want to be alarmist, but you should know that the Department of Justice is a very big department. It has many entities and units under it. So the impact, I think, it's serious for everyone in the country.
We've seen reports, I'm not quite sure how true they are, that those who are responsible for this breach are actually asking for a ransom in a couple of the range of millions. Does that sound right, given the work that you've done? And what's your response to something like that? I mean, how should government respond to this?
I'm actually adverse to payments of ransom, but even that information, we don't know how true it is, because I saw it on social media yesterday, and the department then issued a statement to deny that actually the ransom has been demanded. But on the quick glance of the email that I saw from them this morning, they seem to say that there is a ransom that has been demanded, but the amount has not been indicated. Words to that effect. The sentence looked quite confusing to me. But like I said, I read the email quite quickly.
Fair enough. The reality, though, is that, difficulties around government systems don't begin and end here. In fact, many will say that there have been long-standing troubles with specifically government's online systems, so to speak. I mean, is that something that resonates with you as the information regulator? In other words, it hasn't been smooth sailing anyway before getting here, and this might just be the wake-up call we all needed.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about the Department of Justice. I think, in all fairness, I cannot talk about other departments because I don't know their systems and I haven't used them. But certainly, as far as the Department of Justice is concerned, we have had problems. We've been having problems with very erratic internet. Sometimes, or most of the time, the email is not working. It can work for 4 weeks and then another 4 weeks it's not working. This has been an ongoing problem at the Department of Justice before we reached this point.
I don't want to delve into speculation, but perhaps this is also worth addressing just for the public interest. There are already some people who believe that this could be orchestrated from inside government so that some kind of tender is issued for people to be able to benefit from that. Again, no confirmation around something like this, but as the information regulator yourself, how are you guarding against that kind of possibility?
No, I can't speculate on that. I think we have to talk about our responsibilities as the information regulator vis-a-vis responsible parties such as the Department of Justice, all private and public bodies. The Act requires everyone to put in place adequate security measures to safeguard the confidentiality and the integrity of the information that they keep. We have been preaching this, and I think that I hope that people will begin to take us seriously, because as I speak, in August only, we had about 38 data breaches in this country. And in September, we are beginning to receive some even from big companies. So I'm saying data breaches, security breaches in South Africa are quite serious. And I think private bodies and public bodies, companies and the government in particular, they have to ensure that they look at their security measures. Some of the infrastructure, I'm told, in some departments is quite archaic. And I think we have to pay attention to this because I think cyber criminals are all over. And because they've seen that our country is open, we will be forever experiencing data breaches if we don't improve.
Very lastly, if I am a data subject and my information has been compromised, advocate, what kind of recourse do I have, especially in a context where I feel that the compromise took place because the body, entity, department has been negligent?
I mean, a data subject, depending on the extent of the data breach and how they have been impacted, they can institute civil actions against a responsible party that has been negligent. On our part as the Information Regulator, we can also do an investigation and we can issue fines on behalf of, we can issue a fine against the responsible party that has not complied with the Act. But at the same time, we can institute a civil action on behalf of data subjects.
Sure. Important discussion this, and I hope the urgency with which it needs to be addressed has come through loud and clear. But for now, let me thank you for your time. Really do appreciate it. Advocate Pansy Tlakula is the Information Regulator here in South Africa. Once again, Pansy, thanks very much indeed.